Mohammed, once again, thanks for an excellent presentation. Now the floor is open.
My pleasure.
Please, the other subject matter experts from other founding companies, Aramco, KNPC, join in.
أخوي أبو عبد الرحمن Mohammed, first, we need to acknowledge that you are a successful and aspiring leader as well, especially in the area of project management. And no doubt that you are an intellectual and exceptional human capital in the project management, especially managing mega and major projects, along also with other organizations that we feel proud of their success and also achievements throughout the years. And definitely you are continuing your journey, mashallah, and you are still continuing your journey in the other part, and we wish you the best of luck. أخوي Mohammed, in that experience, that big complex facility that you managed, almost 13 EPC contractors that were scattered across the globe, I would see one very, very big challenge in managing such a project, which is the procurement. And when we talk the procurement, I mean especially the material. I'm not talking about the services, but the manufacturing and material. How could you manage such a humongous size of a project that you have different packages going at the same time? How could you integrate and bring all those material manufacturing together into success that you have to manage your construction activities as planned?
Okay, 2 points, if I can say. Number one, select the right EPC who knows his job. And material procurement is really, that's where the right EPC excel. They are much better in procuring material versus the clients. In all of major EPC, the clients will turn this bulk material, major equipment deliveries to the contractors because they are much more suited to it and pursuing. They have a lot of long-term agreement with vendors and manufacturers, and they build on that relationship. So this is one thing. Select the right EPC and let him manage his own material procurement. You just monitor him and make sure he's doing it right. The second element is what we call the long lead item. For major investment, you're going to have the 18-month manufacturing equipment, a major vessel, a major rotating equipment, a gas compressor, a big shipper pumps. These, you need to select the vendor during the FEED, and you need to place what we call novated purchase order. You buy the material and pay for the engineering, and then turn it over, novated, to the EPC. So you can come and you have done all the decision, and it will come during the construction phase in the right time. If you delay it to the EPC will need another 6 months of engineering and purchasing to make that decision, which delay the delivery date to the site. So these are the two major strategies. Number one, the EPCs select the right EPC, and they are good at management. Now, you need to have good material reporting system in your hand, where you see it weekly and monthly. Is it coming on time? And if it's not coming on time, you intervene with the EPC. A lot of cases where we got in the plane with the EPC and went to the manufacturing shipyard himself, going into seeing our vessels, going to see my compressor being manufactured on time. The vendors are too busy usually when it's high demand. And if you don't come knocking on their door and say, hey, this is important for me, he's not gonna bother. He's gonna give it to the guy, give the priority to the other client who's visiting.
Okay, thank you very much, Mohammed. I have another also maybe relevant question. I liked, you covered part of your strategies or success factors in your project is the alignment between the project team and the operation, the asset owner. One of the major success factors in a project, as you know, Mohammed, is that chemistry, that synergy, the integration between operation, asset owner, and the project team. How could you manage to bring this into success, especially having almost 15 packages across?
Well, it's not easy, and you as a leader need to play the neutral role, okay? They look up to you and they will see, are you trying to take sides? And secondly, also your leaders get involved. Again, politics is always in the companies, and if the board members are not aligned and they have different priorities, different focus, it will transcend to the team members on both sides. And I've seen it where previous project with the proponent was not aligned with us, and he was always not finding his own reason. But I've seen all very much success stories with the proponent was there from day number one. And at the end of the day, we all have the same objective. Huh? We have the same objective. So it is a lot of hard work, and a lot, by the way, one thing you need, take them off the job. During the meetings and the discussions, it's very difficult banging heads every day. Huh? But in the evening, we go and play soccer together. We go and have dinner together. We go and play balot, نلعب balot عشان وكان in every site we had a khaymal, a tent on the construction site. So after 10 hours of arguing and fighting in the morning, in the evening we go play volleyball, soccer or whatever we like to play. And then go نلعب balot وشيشة وقهوة وشاي ونتفرج مباريات سوا. This is how we get to know each other and like each other, by spending social time together after work.
Okay, before I turn the mic to my colleague Mish'al, I like also the notion of having a project steering committee. And imagine with that project steering committee, you have also the board of directors. How was that role from that project steering committee to the project management team to everybody in the site? How was that engagement? How frequent was it? What was the chemistry between this project steering committee and also the project management team on the ground?
So the steering committee members were board members selected, okay? 1 or 2 from each side of different, representing different entities, and they would meet with us. At the beginning was every 2 to 3 months, but at the end, monthly. And sometimes, we did decisions even, and we go to them with decision making on contractor performance. If I need to intervene, I need to bring in another contractor, I need to demobilize a contractor, I need to make some decisions on change orders, and there will be change orders. All of this need a strong committee that will gonna challenge you, push back. It's not rubber stamp, but at the end they are reasonable. And if you have the right justification for a decision, they will support it. And then they are also part of the team. They were also very sociable people, spending time with us. So again, building the relationship with them. So to me, a lot of major projects need that. If you just leave it to quarterly, and the board are very busy and they would meet every 6 months, and it's too late for major investment projects to wait 6 months to make some decision. You cannot. You're going to derail the job.
Excellent. Thank you very much. The other questions might follow later. Let's see our colleague.
Shukran.
Thank you, Abu Abdurrahman, for the interesting presentation and interesting topic. For a moment, we're talking about the clean fuels project in KNDC. You have mainly or more or less common challenges and common things that can really do that. Before coming to my main questions, I want to comment on Imad's question about the procurement. I agree that the procurement is a main challenge. And also I agree with your answer that it's 2 factors for the successful procurement plan is the competent, let's say, contractor and what we call it in KMBC, expediting a plan. As you said, you have to knock the door wherever there is a shortfall in the procurement. You have to follow up, visit the site, push for the to expedite your item.
Absolutely.
Coming to the main question, while you consider the interface between contractors as one of the main challenges, which is I totally agree with, in the feeds, what was the basis when you like segregate between two contractors? It must be there's a demarcation between 2-3 contractors. Yani, hadn't you thought of of reducing the contractors or have one common contractor from one side instead of having multi-contractors? What was the study there at that time in the feed?
Okay, so typically, and it's the investment size. Okay, when you have, and also there are some packages that you like to give it to some local contractors because you want to also promote your local content within the project. You don't want to give everything out, so you leave a share to the local contractors, and then the rest you try to distribute. Typically, if you look at today's market, a major package for I have not seen anything more than $2 to $3 billion worth of one package. And you want to have multiple contractors in case one is failing, the other one is performing, and that gives good competition. I have not seen a project where we give a $10 billion to 2 or 3 contractors. No, that's a little too risky. You're putting a lot of trust and a lot of risk to these contractors, because don't forget, they also have to go and finance these jobs ahead of you. Typically, an EPC contractor is paying 3 to 6 months ahead from getting his payment from the client. So for him to have enough money to go and buy equipment and resources and labors ahead of you, that's put a lot of financial burden on him, and it's gonna be limiting his chances of success. As far as demarcation, you want to give units. Don't try to mix units. So a CDU, crude distillation unit, a vacuum distillation, keep that one plot, which has a lot of integration between them, keep it to one contractor. The sulfur packages, give it to one contractor. The main pipe rack, another contract. The utilities, of course, this is a major contract package by itself with the utility pipe rack. That give it to one contractor and make him one of your best. And he has to be one of the best. He has to be very adaptable and flexible contractor. So in summary, you don't want to give too high value because of the financial side, but also isolating the different packages and another element of their experience, okay? Because you're going to see contractors specializing in certain packages. So you're going to see one who's doing always a lot of utilities versus one who's done a lot of crude units, or versus aromatics units, or versus tankage. It's again specializing. If I go and give contractor A the crude unit and the tank farm with it, guess what he's going to do? He's going to subcontract the tank farm to another subcontractor who is specializing in that. Well, why? Why don't I bring that subcontractor directly to me, where I can have better control on it? That's again, it's judgment call.
Yeah. So basically, the main driver was the financial capabilities and let's say the technical or reference projects, or the experience.
Yeah. His last project he did, was it what, 2 to 3 billion or 1 billion? Okay, so I'll give him that range plus 10%, 20%. If he's done 2 billion, I'm not going to give him 5 billion. No, that's too much.
Had that been read with the and along with the risk of the interface that okay, you don't want to take risk of having one contractor, okay, but at the same time having multi-contractor also, it will provide many risks. Have that been evaluated that time?
Correct. I agree. I fully agree. You're taking a lot of burden and risk on your side, but you're taking it to your control. And if you put the right plan for it and the right resources, you can manage it right. I'd rather have an interface challenge in my hand versus an EPC performance challenge, because that's very difficult to manage, especially when it comes to him paying his material equipment orders and his labors and what have you. That's way beyond them. And I don't know, it's been tested. Interface management is a challenge, but it's more doable versus contractors.
Thank you for it. Thank you, Mohammed.
It is an excellent opportunity to talk with such expert that definitely we should never miss the minutes to talk with.
Taslam ya Mohammed, taslam.
Allah yabarak fik. Now I have maybe two, but I will talk first about one question that really I see it matters big in the projects. You know, and when it comes to project lever, you talk about, you know, stakeholder management, interface management, planning for a startup. You talk about also interdependency on other between packages and so on. People, chemistry or whatever. I need you first to touch base on how could you prepare for planning for startup of such huge complex. Yani from 2006 you started and you finished 2013, and you have lots of new technology, new even processes that never been built before in that country. How could you plan for the planning for a startup? How could you prepare those workforce to be ready to take over that responsibility?
Again, planning ahead and during the feed, use the feed. One of the success story we had in that refinery project is that startup plan was developed during the feed. During the feed. And people will say, well, it's too early to talk about startup plan. No, it's not. And I tell you, I remember today, the refinery startup plan, we started, the EPC phase was revision 24. See? They had already 24 revisions, challenging and changing, and coming up with the right sequence down to the which instrument air unit, which sulfur unit I'm going to bring, which substation I'm going to start up first. All this sequencing was done revision 24. That when we signed the EPC phase in July 2009. By the time we finished construction, commissioning and startup in end of December 2013, we had only one revision only. And because of a major hiccup that happened, I'm not going to tell secrets. We always going to have a major hiccups during such a job. We had to change the sequence, but we changed it only once. And that's why spending the time, especially in the field, with the operation people and having the right expert to say, okay, here is my sequencing. I'm going to start my instrument air first. And then, okay, the cooling water will come. Okay, which part of the cooling water, area A or area B? You have to do that early on.
So how could you prepare?
Hang on a second. Let me just add one more thing. During the feed, all the decision making is between you, the PMT, and the proponent, correct? Two, with a very shared objectives. Once you distribute to 13 packages, you have 13 decision maker with you. And they're going to start putting their finger and saying, no, I want to do this first. No, I want to do that first. And each one want to play it to his advantage. No, you have to control it from the beginning. And you be in charge. So a startup plan has to be developed before you award EPC contractors.
I need you, please, from that, I am sure, exceptional experience that you have faced, what would you name the top number one ranked success factors, and what would you think the lesson learned, the hard, the harsh, the challenging lesson learned that you wouldn't love to repeat?
Too many. شعري شاب ليش يا أبو أحمد. Too many to remember. But the number one is a good feed in your hand. Like I said, there's nothing better than a good feed in your hand. If you don't do a good feed, spend the time in the front end engineering, you're asking for trouble. And number two is selecting the right contractors. Pre-qualification, and let them and go through a rigorous evaluation criteria with a matrix that involves PMT, contracting, component. It's not just one guy. And third is good governance on the project. So such major investment, gentlemen, you better have the right governance and system in place with the right procedure and the right decision making. Otherwise, project managers and are focusing on getting job done, and sometimes they get themselves in trouble by not having the right governance systems in place. And last, number four, I would say teamwork, team spirit, ya Jama'ah. And sometimes we think it's a given. No, you have to put the time and effort, especially major investments means bringing different parties from different backgrounds, different cultures, different experience, different nationalities. And you need to invest time and money into it.
So the lesson learned or the challenge that you face hard time to manage during that project?
Well, not just the project, but I remember the balance organization chart I shared, push versus pull, and have right focus on resources on quality and safety, and governance versus the execution side. That was a major element. In previous projects, everything reported to one director, me. And sometimes you're pushing with the not quality, but safety may not take the right priority because they are reporting to you and they are part of the team. And if you don't give them the right support and give them the right resources, they don't necessarily become the priority. But having different balance, check and balance, then you'll have a better control on your safety performance. So
thank you very much.
That's something that I've learned, and don't have everything reporting to one guy, if it means losing some of your control.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Imad. Thank you very much, Mishal. And Mohammed, before I let you go, I have also one more question. You mentioned the importance of feed, and I 100% agree with you. You cannot, get away without a good feed. And good feed means you are on a good horse and you can gallop through the journey. My question is, in the feed, you utilize the best practices known to that time, also use the best of the international standards and your company design specifications and so on. But once you have awarded this to the EPC contractor, let's say a few months or a year down the line, a new best practice comes or a new standard comes which you would like to implement. Did you have the flexibility to impose those standards even though you awarded the contract on a feed which was based on a previous standard?
Yeah, typically you would allow flexibility, and if the APC can bring a new equipment based on a different standard that meets your expectation, he can submit it as a proposal. And actually sometimes you would allow some saving for him. Okay, so you want to save money, better standards. EPC will not change the equipment unless it's going to give him better price, he's going to save money, or better delivery. And okay, let him justify that and explain, or safety. Well, yes, absolutely. And you give him the flexibility in the contract, and sometimes we used to share with him the savings. Okay, if you bring a better design, a better engineering that's going to save money, okay, let's split it. So you're enticing him, you're giving him a motivation to go and propose something that is cost effective, but still maintaining the safety and quality. However, new technologies, you've done all the technology in the refinery, or because you selected which vendor, which cracker technology you're going to use, which sulfur technology you're going to use. You need, that's a point we need to remember. You're going to have to make all these decisions during the feed.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, the schedule will be terribly overrun.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. It has been an excellent discussion session, and I'm sure our viewers and audience will get very informative and beneficial tips out of this session. And once again, thank you all.
Thank you, gentlemen, for inviting me, Mishal, the great input.
God bless.
Thank you.
Hammad, Raj, and Rajit, thank you for the support on the technical side.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Yeah.
Masala khair.
Stay safe.
Good luck.
Stay healthy.
Stay
Nice.
safe.
Salam.